Hi, it's Molly from the Semi-Retired MD team. Today's episode features our special guests, Dr. Zee and Dr. Asfa from our 2021 Fast Fire Summit. You'll hear how they built a portfolio of 9 rental units in less than 3 years, starting with a duplex, while managing full-time medical careers and raising a family. They share how mindset was key, how they created time through intentional choices, and how alignment as a couple helped them take action fast. Whether you're just starting out or scaling your portfolio, this story is packed with inspiration and proof that financial freedom is possible for physicians.
Well, we're really excited to have Asfa and Zee here to share their real estate journey. And they're a couple that we've gotten to know quite well because we've actually partnered on a deal together. And it's been a really fun journey doing that together. Hey, guys, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
So would you mind sharing a little bit about yourselves and tell us how you started getting interested in real estate?
Yeah, sure. My name is Zee and Dr. I'm a neuroradiologist. I've been practicing in Western New York for the past 8 years. And this is my wife, Asfa.
Hi, I'm Asfa. I'm a general neurologist who does specialty in clinical neurophysiology. And I've been doing telemedicine for the past year. And it's been wonderful.
Yeah, and so we got started in real estate by accident, actually. About 5 to 6 years ago, we had the desire to go back to New Jersey. We were both from New Jersey, and so we wanted to look around the Princeton area. And we bought a house, a very expensive house, and then we decided not to move there and stay here. So then we wanted to rent the house out, so we rented it out. You know, just that experience showed us that, okay, well, there's a lot we can do within real estate. And, you know, we were barely, breaking even. We weren't even covering our bills. So, we both looked at each other and said, well, everyone says real estate is a great, investment vehicle. So it wasn't working out that way for us. So we went out to try to figure out, okay, what do other people know that we don't? And so we ran into Passive Income MD. And we went to his conference, and that's where we were introduced to you. And we really enjoyed that, you had a really nice debate at that conference between passive and active real estate. And so I was there, my wife wasn't. And so when I came back, I brought all this knowledge back, and we were really excited. And then we signed up for the ZTF course. And then that's sort of how we got started into our real estate journey.
And as I remember, one of your motivators was taxes. Is that right?
Absolutely, because that was our biggest expense. And we were both really attuned into how much money we were spending every year and looking at that figure. And, that was the biggest expense that we had. And we were looking for a way to save on the taxes. And after we came back and I spoke with Asfa regarding reps, that really changed everything for us. Then we were ready to jump into it, and that's exactly what we did. After the course, when I came back, I think it was like November, December time, and we talked it over, and Asfa was working full-time. We have 2 kids, and it was pretty tough. I work full-time, she's working full-time. Granted, it's, sometimes we work from home, but that's still really hard with kids. So we both decided that Asfa was going to go part-time. And that's exactly what she did. She went January 1st, she went part-time.
And then also achieving reps, and then we just kind of went from there.
And then COVID hit in March. So it worked out for us.
So you decided to go part-time, you're in the course. So what did you guys do right during the course or after?
I guess during the course,
it was a lot of learning. It was a huge learning curve initially. And I think just patience, because it doesn't always come easy initially, and the understanding of it and the journey, how the end result will be. But I think it was just a lot of learning in the beginning. And then once we dove into it, it just kind of grew from there.
Yeah. I think for me, it was hard at first to figure out, okay, which location, that people talk about. Okay, well, we were trained in Texas, so we were looking back at the Texas market. We thought it was hot. Like, okay, we know this market, we know this area. Let's start investing there. We couldn't find anything that cash flowed based on the system that's been taught to you. So we're like, all right, this is not going to work. So we switched over to Phoenix. That didn't work either. It had some same issues as Texas, but different. And then I think we settled upon a 2-pronged approach. we both decided, okay, we're going to go for reps. We want to make sure that no one's going to question that. So we invested in Buffalo, where we live right now. And the market here is great for real estate investing, especially if you want to achieve reps. So because it's right here, we're able to make a lot of investments and see them ourselves. And we also started investing in Tacoma, which is also like an appreciation play as well in certain areas in Tacoma. So we feel like now we have a nice balance between the two.
Tell us about your first property.
All right. So the first property we had was, okay, we both settled on a large burr because every time we both looked at a property, it's really good to have my wife there looking at it as well because, she's my sounding board. Every time we saw properties, she was like, well, look, the roof is awful. Like, you need to calculate that into your returns. And I would do that. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. And that would really change a lot. And then the more we looked into a property, we said, wait a minute. Oh, something else is wrong as well. Like the HVAC is messed up, or there's knob and tube in this house, and there's wood rot in this house, and there's a structural issue in that house. So, we kept on coming back, and we're really analytical, and we kept on looking at our spreadsheets and trying to figure things out. And then finally, it just dawned on us. We're like, you know what? It's gonna happen. There's gonna be unknowns. Let's just go big. So we found something. It was a duplex. It was really marked low because it needed so much repair. It needed everything. So roof, plumbing, electrical, structural issues, you name it, it had issues. So we said, you know what, we're going to go with that. It's going to be a big project, but I think we're both going to go into it. And I'm so glad we did because we found the right contractors. We found some wrong contractors too. And now we know the community here in Buffalo. We know the HVAC guys, we know the general contractors, we know the electrical people. So now we made friends before we had no idea. I mean, we bought a house, and so, we really didn't know the contractor community here. We didn't know the different vendors. So now that we did that, so we started on basically a burr, which is, buy, rent, refinance, repeat. So, we went in there, and I guess we changed everything out. COVID hit, so it kind of slowed things down first a little bit. But even after that, I think everything worked out just fine.
What was the timeline from the beginning when you put in the offer to closing on the deal? And then when did you finish your renovation?
Okay, so this actually, we found the place in July, August. We placed an offer, and everything just slowed down at that time. For some reason, there was just too many deals around that time in this area. And so by the time everything was said and done, I think it was like November, December, where we actually had the property ready to go and like start renovating. But then when COVID hit, it just slowed things down even more. It was just like, everything really, really took a beating around here. It was very hard to get anything going. I remember one of our HVAC guys, he was a great quote, and then 2 weeks later, he was in the ICU, and so we're like, okay, what do we do now? So we had to go out there and get other vendors. So from start to finish, I would say it was about 8 to 9 months. So we just got done, and we're in the refinance stage at the moment.
Yeah, and for those who don't know what a burr is, and you kind of mentioned, you buy something at a discount and something that oftentimes needs a lot of work. Then you renovate it, and then you rent it out, and then you refinance. And the idea is that when you're refinancing, you pull out all your money. You basically get your money back for, whatever you paid for the property as well as a renovation.
Are you on track to do that?
Yeah, actually, we are. Actually, we ended up making money on the entire purchase. I mean, I guess we ended up buying it for $95. And after everything was said and done, we had put about $97 into it, and it appraised for $250. So, yeah,
amazing.
Right there. I mean, it gave us a lot of experience, and it doesn't we're not afraid of problems that crop up. I mean, you definitely want to be worried about things that you don't know. Like, you want to go and do your due diligence as much as you can, but there's always a way out of a problem.
And I think it also added value because it gave us a network of like a nice team to work with. And I think anything now is we're able to tackle because we've seen probably the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
So it added value to our learning experience too.
I love that. I love how you went big. And when you say big, you meant that you went for a big project right from the beginning. And you said, well, you can handle anything. But where do you think that comes from? Like, I think a lot of people, when they tackle something maybe big like that and they run into, obstacles or challenges, it slows them down, right? But it sounds like you guys were kind of able to push through that. Why do you think you were able to kind of push through all that?
I guess, I mean, it really comes down to like parents do that, like our parents, like her father is in real estate and he does a lot of handyman stuff himself, and I know my mom's family as well. She's really into real estate as well. And they've always stressed that this is a vehicle of growth. So we always had a positive attitude as to, okay, if there's a problem, we can solve it, And I think whenever these problems cropped up, and they definitely did. I mean, our first contractor wanted to cover everything up. Like, he saw a knob and tube and he just covered it up with, sheetrock, And then once we were like, well, wait a minute, we want to divide up these two units. So we actually wanted separate utilities, right? And they're like, well, no, you can't have that. You'll just have to do rubs. And we know from this area that doesn't work that well here for renters. So we wanted separate utilities. So actually we had to find the right contractor, and the right guy came, and then he ripped out all the sheetrock, and then he had to lay out new wiring everywhere, so there was a lot of problems that cropped up, but we were kind of persistent, I mean, I would do this all over again just so I can find those individuals that now we were introduced to that can fix problems, that you can trust, and they're going to do the job right the first time.
Mm-hmm. And also, it sounds like Asfa was going to get real estate professionals. You had a very strong goal of what you were going to do in terms of time for the year. So I can imagine that also drove you.
It was really nice. We were really driven because we wanted to pursue reps for something locally too. And the contractors that we were working with were very accommodating. We did the walkthrough and we laid out the plans of what we wanted and how we wanted the rooms to be divided, to add rooms to the current property. So it was
yeah, and Asfa was very helpful where she was able to design, she really designed that kitchen, for the back unit. And it was all our contractor had a design, but it wasn't really making sense. But for her, she was like, well, no, I think I want it this way. Yeah. And it really was
worked
helpful.
out.
Awesome. And any closing advice for others considering investing in real estate?
I guess one thing that we would both think of is don't overthink things, just start. That was the hardest part, just getting started for us. And we wouldn't want people to make the same mistake. I mean, if we had just started looking at properties and buying and just jumping into it, yeah, there may have been some, learning curves here and there, and it would still be so much better if you just jump in and get going. Because the second you get started, yeah, there may be problems, but then you find solutions for those problems. And then the best time to buy real estate is right now. That's what we would say.
And I think for anyone that